It's my great pleasure today to join the Gerontech and Innovation Expo and Summit and present to you our recent work on Virtual Gym, a personalized exercise platform for seniors. My name is Eleni Stroulia, and I'm a professor of computing science at the University of Alberta. I'm also the director of the AI4Society Signature Area and the acting vice dean of the Faculty of Science. This work, that has been conducted by an interdisciplinary team of researchers across computing science, rehabilitation, medicine, and nursing, has been supported by NSERC, Alberta Innovates, the HLNC, and CABI. To set the stage for our work, let me start by discussing briefly the changes and challenges that we all experience as we age. There's a whole variety of challenges, but I will focus on two broad categories: cognitive challenges and physical mobility challenges. Healthy older adults might start forgetting familiar names or words, or they might find it more difficult to multitask. These are natural changes that come with age, but in some cases, adults affected by dementias experience these problems more pronounced and really have difficulties performing tasks of daily life because of them. At the same time, our muscles lose strength, we become less strong and less flexible, and these changes reduce our ability to coordinate our movements, reduce our stability and our balance. These challenges can be addressed by regular exercise of our cognitive skills and our physical mobility, and these exercises can be supported through serious games. Serious games can support safely mental and physical activity at home, and this continuous activity can improve cognitive and physical health. The key idea behind this hypothesis is gamification. Gamification is a high technology or an idea that has been proposed as a mechanism for motivating desired behaviors. And the high-level intuition for why gamification works is because it brings together the three elements that are essential for engaging in a behavior, according to Fogg's behavioral model. And these three elements are ability. We have to be able to actually perform the activity that is presented to us. We have to be motivated. We have to want to perform this activity. And we have to be appropriately prompted. Games bring these environments that provide motivations with stars and awards. Serious games can manage the difficulty of the game in order to match our ability as players. And of course, the game mechanics prompt us to perform the right activities. So this is a high-level idea underlying the work that we have been doing in our two platforms that we have developing for cognitive and physical training: Vibrant Minds and Virtual Gym. I will start by giving a very high-level overview of Vibrant Minds, which is a platform that supports the development of a variety of games on mobile tablets and collects information about the performance of the users as they play these games at the back end so that it can be analyzed with data science and machine learning methods. There are a few fundamental principles for the development of all games on the Vibrant Minds platform. First, they have to be real games. They have to be known to the players and they have to be fun. We experimented with the ideas of developing logic puzzles or even transforming standard valid assessment instruments like MOCA and MMSE into a game like Function. But we decided against that because real games are tending to be more engaging. Users are highly motivated, or at least more motivated to play real games than logic puzzles. And they're more motivated to play games that they already know and they have experience playing throughout their life. Now, the second key idea is difficulty. The difficulty has to be controlled systematically so that the games can offer levels that are playable by all users. Too easy is boring. Too difficult is disappointing. So in order to hit the right level of motivation, we have to be at the right level of usability. From a software engineering perspective, the model-driven software engineering methodology allows us to build general specifications for all the games, and then we parameterize these specifications with different difficulty levels so that we can get instances of the games at different levels. Finally, the overall platform supports the development of study workflows so that researchers can experiment with different types of game difficulties and deployments, collect data from the user's performance as they play the games, and conduct analysis using data science and machine learning methods. I will give a high-level overview now of the games that we have developed. The first game is Whack-A-Mole. So Whack-A-Mole focuses on training perception skills. Word search focuses on linguistic abilities. Another game is Bejeweled, and that focuses on exercising the user's ability to see patterns, which is the same objective as Mahjong, which enables people to train their perceptual skills by noticing similar tiles. Now, all these games become more difficult by becoming more faster. The word search and the Mahjong become more difficult by having bigger boards with more difficult words or with more complex, colorful icons on the tiles. So this is the way we control difficulty. Now, going beyond Vibrant Minds, let's focus on Virtual Gym, which was designed to exercise both cognitive and physical mobility. The first version of Virtual Gym was developed with a Kinect sensor, and the second version has moved to an immersive virtual reality using the Oculus device. The high-level principles of Virtual Gym is the key idea that healthy minds live in healthy bodies. So physical activity and physical exercise advances both our functional mobility, but also our cognitive skill and capacity. And how do we do that in Virtual Gym? We build exit games, all of which are configured to the body, size, and shape and ability of each individual player. Our games, our Virtual Gym games, are easy to learn. They're not particularly complex, but still they are challenging because the game mechanics, the environment in which they're played, the color schemes, and the rules are complex and can become increasingly difficult following a methodology similar to that we have followed in Vibrant Minds. And then the final objective is to have fun, and that we pursue with interesting designs and music. The purpose of all Virtual Gym games is to exercise the body and challenge the mind. So how do we do that? Let's start with the first version of our exercise platform. The first version of the Kinect-based toolkit consisted of two components. The first is the exercise editor, and the second is the actual game environment where the user exercises. In the exercise editor, an expert records a demonstration of the exercise, identifies key postures that the user has to go through, and composes these postures into a script, starting with the T posture, explaining how long each posture has to be held and how long the movement between postures should take and what the next posture should be. Let me show you how the editor works. The first icon shows the environment in which the demonstration takes place. In effect, we have an exercise therapist in front of the Kinect demonstrating the various postures in sequence. In the second tile, we can see that the recording of the exercise can be edited, much like a video can be edited with appropriate tools. Now let's see what kind of edits we can do. In the third tile, you can see that the environment is aware of all the joints that the Kinect captures. Kinect version 2 captures 24 joints. And now what the editor of the exercise script does is identifies the joints and corrects and specifies the right angles and positions of every joint. Now, at the same time, the editor, who is an expert in exercise, also identifies the tolerances of how much variability we can have when a user actually conducts the exercise, because we don't want to be too strict in order to accommodate different physical abilities. And the last step is the scripting. So having identified all the postures, and every posture is essentially a specification consisting of all the relevant joints in the relevant positions and angles. Now, these postures are strung in a sequence of steps such that every exercise consists of a sequence of transitions from the T posture to a sequence of next movements. Now, what happens before the user plays is the configuration. Now, if we start with a demonstration that has the user reaching up with arms into the sky, expecting that the arms will be straight up vertically, and we see that our user does not have the ability to actually move their arms so high vertically, but rather can only move into an angle of, let's say, about 25 degrees between the absolute vertical and how their shoulders, elbows, and palms can go. Now, what happens then, the exercise therapist may adjust the appropriate angles within the tolerances that have already been specified in order to allow for the user to say that they have accomplished the exercise, even though their arms do not reach completely vertically up. They are at a 25-degree angle. The next thing that we found while designing with a number of seniors who were part of our advisory board, our system, was the fact that the user interface is very important. We started with many different environments as backgrounds into the exercise demonstration. So you can see at the top 3 different scenes. In the first 2 scenes, we have 2 different avatars. One is demonstrating the exercise, and the other is the avatar of the user performing the exercise. Soon we found that having 2 avatars was confusing, and we reached the third design, where the user's avatar is simply shown as the shadow around the avatar of the coach demonstrating the exercise. We also realized that it's very important to provide clear instructions in different modalities so that the user understands what they're supposed to do. Otherwise, they may feel frustrated. So our instructions are given in audio and text, and with various icons that indicate what the joint, what the placement of the joint should be. So a quick demonstration of the first version of Virtual Gym will take us . So here you see the final version of our user interface, where in a display, the coach avatar demonstrates what the user should do, and the user is performing the exercises in a clear space in front of the Kinect, such that they always try to mimic what the coach does. So this is the first version of the Kinect, of the virtual gym using the Kinect, which suffers from one important limitation. the only exercises that can be described are exercises that can be perceived from a front view. So in effect, the exercises that can be described and conducted are on 2D. Now, as the advance of virtual reality devices increase on a daily basis, we realize that there are substantial opportunities for more interesting exercises and more engaging game environments if we were to move to immersive VR. So in VR, in virtual reality, we don't have to have a coach. We simply immerse the user in a game environment, and we change the environment to guide them to go through the postures and movements involved in the exercise. There's no longer need for projection of the exercise to a two-dimensional plane. A second fundamental advantage of VR is the fact that this is a much more fun, more engaging environment. And now we can have full body exercises of arms, shoulders, legs, and hips, and we can have sound, essentially providing a rhythm background to the exercise. So let me tell you a little bit about how the virtual reality version of Virtual Gym works. Again, we start with a specification of the exercise as demonstrated by an expert. The next step involves translating this exercise into the body shape of our user. So in effect, we map the joints of the user based on the size of our actual user to the demonstration. And then this information together is integrated in a single game where the environment presents objects as targets to the user and places these targets in this location that would make the user move their joints to the right position to engage with the targets. The last step is doing all this into a fun game, fantastic environment. So let me show you what our games look like. The first one is the bubbles game. And the metaphor here is that the user is a diver in an underwater scene. And what they have to do is they have to draw oxygen from these bubbles that appear close to them. Now, remember, the bubbles appear in the right positions so that the arms of the user stretch in front of them or to the side or high up above their head. And this mapping of the locations of the bubbles is done through the process I described in the last slide. The game becomes increasingly complex as the bubbles become further out, or they come faster, or they appear for a shorter period of time. The cognitive difficulty of the game changes as we associate the color of the bubbles with different colors of the devices that the user is holding with their controllers. So at more difficult levels, the user has to color coordinate their controllers with their bubbles, or else they will not be able to receive the oxygen. Or who may add another level of difficulty, whereby the user has to coordinate their arms so that they can suck the oxygen of both bubbles at the same time. Similarly, another game is the balloons. Probably by now you get the idea of how the game is designed. Now you can see in the second image that the user has two different hands with different colors, and they have to coordinate the color of their hands with the balloons as they appear in order to pop them. In our third game, in climbing, the users have to stretch high above their head in order to grab onto rocks that appear high up, and they climb a virtual wall in multiple environments. So you can see they can be in a strange rock in a lonely island. Next, we have an archery game whereby the users have to move their body in order to follow the targets that appear in front of them at different distances and speeds and orientations. And the targets can become more or less large, which makes the game less or more difficult. And finally, the Slice Saber is one of my favorite games, because now it's quite complex in that the users has to slice the targets that come onto them, and the direction of the lightsabers is defined by the dotted lights on the targets, and the color of the lightsaber and the color of the dotted line have to be coordinated. I forgot the virtual rings. It's a similar idea as the wall, only the action is in front of the body, not above the user's heads. Our seniors, we have experimented with more than 40 seniors during the pandemic. They're all 60 plus, with an average about mid-70s, and they are all very engaged with the game. What I would like to mention is that they're very interested in the environment. They associate the scenes with experience from their past. They thought that the moon was the moon in Mexico that they had seen in the past. They engage with the graphics and the music, and that's part of the motivation. They appreciate the fact that the game is quite difficult and exercises their cognitive ability, and they all expressed fun experience, even though some of them were quite worried in the beginning that it might have been too difficult. The fundamental advantages of the virtual reality platform is this immediate avatar embodiment, the sound that makes the game more engaging, the high quality tracking of the body that results in very important data set for analyzing the person's progress through their exercise. Unfortunately, some users may find it discomforting and may experience disorientation and nausea. And if the device is to be shared by multiple users, meticulous hygiene procedures must be put in place. In reflection, I just hope that I have communicated that games can have a very important role in personalized health. They can provide assessments for cognitive, mental, and physical health. They provide an easy way of collecting high quality data that can be systematically analyzed without being interpreted by a professional. And they can be more sensitive to change because they can be regularly used. So small declines or small improvements can now be perceived, while that was not possible before. The fun aspect of the games and the prompting and the right placement in the case of virtual gym of the targets make the games engaging and fun and adjustable to every single person's ability. In conclusion, I would like to say that this type of work is important to be done by an interdisciplinary team, and it is possible because now we are finding ourselves with a wealth of sensors available that can provide us access to huge types and modes of data that can be important in us analyzing people's abilities and performance. Thank you for your attention.
Hi, my name's Carys Hansed. I'm the Specialist Physio Lead at Denton Physiotechnology. It's really exciting to be here today. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'm here today to talk to you about our startup, Denton Physiotechnology, but also how we use the product Reflex 3D rehab sensors within our clinic, within our practice from day to day. So I'm going to give you a history of our startup and our relationship with the Reflex team, and then we're going to show you the product itself, and then give you a background, give you some testimonials and some info about how we are using this exciting product and digital physiotherapy in the UK at the moment. So my brother is an entrepreneur in automation and robotics. He suffered a knee injury last year sometime, and during the pandemic, and also because NHS waiting lists in the UK were so high, he decided to go out to Romania, where he had his operation there. He had an ACL reconstruction. Post-surgery, particularly because of COVID, he was given some rehab sensors to use, and this enabled him to do all of his rehab remotely. So he didn't have to go into hospital at all, and we were really excited by this. After successful surgery, he gave me a ring. He rang me and I was back in the UK, and he said, "Carys, have you seen this? Have you seen these exciting sensors? Look what they've given me to do." And being the entrepreneur, he went to see the Reflex team and proposed to them that we could help them using my connections and my experience as a physio within the UK to bring this product to market in the UK, and encourage people physios to use it, and orthopedic surgeons particularly. So this is our team. So you've got me, specialist physio lead, with 14 years experience in musculoskeletal and orthopedics. This is Josh, so he's our chief operating officer, our chief finance officer, who's also my father, so it's a family startup, and Andreas, who is recently joined us, a recent graduate in physio, but has a long experience as a semi-professional footballer. And then the Reflex team. So we work very closely with the Reflex team. These guys have been working hard over the last 6 years to develop and prove the product, particularly. They've been doing some fantastic work out in Tübingen University and Charité University, and it's been amazing to see their journey as well. But we've really enjoyed working closely with them and contributing to developing the product for the UK market. So together as a team, we are across borders, so across the UK, Romania, Germany and beyond, we're looking to reimagine physiotherapy and introduce the digital world to physio. Physio is behind the times a little bit when it comes to digital things, so it's really important to us that we can revolutionize and reimagine how we can improve efficiencies and provide the best service for our patients. So in our clinic, we've been using 3D reflex sensors. We found it's fantastic. We found that it can transform our care pathways for our patients, particularly in COVID times. The sensors aren't for every condition in physiotherapy, but we found we can use them particularly for knee osteoarthritis, hip osteoarthritis, soft tissue injuries. We've seen particularly good results in total hip replacements, preoperatively and postoperatively, total knee replacements, ACL reconstructions. The Reflex team, as I said, have done a lot of work in Tübingen University and Charité University, and have really proved the efficiencies, the benefits of this solution, especially in the realm of knee osteoarthritis. And we've seen some really positive results where patients can self-manage, and potentially some of them have even avoided surgery because of it. So this is one of our patients, Colin. He had a really sore hip. His x-ray showed advanced stage hip osteoarthritis. His consultant told him that he needed a hip replacement. He was in a lot of pain for about 18 months. He lost about £10,000 worth of work because he was unable to work as a PE teacher and outdoor instructor. And he was quoted a 2-year waiting list time. So I don't know what the waiting lists are in Hong Kong, but they're pretty long over here anyway. And then COVID has made that worse. Due to COVID, he was unable to access normal treatment at the time, and the pain really affected his mental health. He struggled to get motivated and struggled to lead his normal active life. So preoperatively in the UK, we would normally, for example, Colin would have had one preoperative assessment in the hospital before he had his operation, maybe a few weeks up to a month before. He would have been given an exercise sheet with some exercises and information about the operation on. He might have about a 10 to 15 minute education phone call about the condition, teaching him how to manage his pain. He would have up to 6 sessions of physio if he's lucky. before his operation to manage his symptoms preventatively. But these sessions are often in the form of a class or on the escape pain program, which is a class type program used in the UK for preventative management. And depending on where he lived in the country would depend on what treatment he gets. So we're really passionate about doing more for these patients. As I said, we are very keen, Reflex and Denton Physiotechnology are really keen to encourage preventative medicine and self-management and to provide the best possible care for our patients. So there's many current inefficiencies, especially in the UK, within the NHS particularly. They get lack of contact, very little contact with professionals before admission sometimes. The exercises are very standardized, not specific to the patient. We're unable to have those conversations emphasizing the importance of lifestyle change and preventive management because we don't get much contact with the patients. If I see a patient on the ward, it's only 15 minutes to half an hour, and minimal information is given in a rushed environment preoperatively. And patients in the UK particularly, I don't know about Hong Kong, but patients see surgery as a solution, and they don't tend to put the work in preoperatively without on their own. They're not very good at self-management. They want the exercise and they want the surgery to be provided as a cure. So how can a remote monitoring system like Reflex, how can that help people like Colin? So lots of our patients now are very busy. I'm sure in Hong Kong, they live very busy lives, busy family lives, busy work life. And it's really hard to get to appointments. Sometimes they have to drive across town or across the country. Sometimes it's hard to get bus routes or transport routes and can take a long time to get to treatment. Sometimes due to their mobility, it's hard to get to treatment anyway and painful. There's low motivation and traditionally here there's low adherence to traditional methods of physio. So there's no awareness or education about the importance of proactive intervention to prevent future injuries and complications. So we found that in Romania, the preventative management of injuries like this is much better, and the health and management and cost effectiveness and efficiencies are better in Romania than they are really here in the UK at the moment. So this is Reflex. This is a wearable device. I'm going to show you a video now and you can get an idea of what it's like.
It's your turn now. Lift your knee a few times. Get ready to exercise. 1, 2. Great job. 1, 2. 1, 2. 2. Don't move your thighs that much. 1,
the avatar mimics your movement, and it also measures really accurately within 4% of the Vicon system your range of movement. It measures pain scales, and it measures exercise form. And we've had some really fantastic feedback from our patients. So we've treated about 27 patients in the UK over the past year, or sort of 6 months to a year, and they've showed really great adherence. This one says 30% increase in adherence, but more recently, some of the results that are coming out of our research are showing higher than that. Patients are very satisfied with the kit itself and find it's really easy to use, even for the elderly patient. And yeah, it's really accurate, so surgeons love it as well. So what impact have I found? What impact have I found this support has on patients? So they find it really helpful to have one-to-one physio almost. So a support and educational tool that allows them to self-manage. They can exercise when they want to, at any time of day, day or night. They see it help. They find it really motivational to track their progress and see the outcome measures and see themselves improving, seeing their range of movement improving. So it helps with motivation. They know that they're being the information is being fed back to me and to their consultants, so they're really keen to please and have that extra motivation there. And then they find that it really helps increase mobility, and because they're doing their exercises daily and as they should do, they show quick improvements rather than slow and gradual. The intense period of physio over a 6 to 8 week period reaps really good rewards in that it increases their mobility, reduces their pain levels and medication. And if you'd like to see some testimonials, then head to our website. I won't show them now because of time, but there's lots on there which can give you some really good ideas of how this can be really beneficial to patients. Mental health wise, it's fantastic and can help patients really get their lives back, which has been a real eye-opener to us. It's just the life-changing effects that physio can have, but also that these sensors can aid with regards to getting people back to what they want to do quickly. Pre-surgery, they get in the best possible condition they can before surgery to encourage a really good post-op outcome, but also post-operatively then they have really good outcomes from their operations because they're doing the rehab as they're meant to, therefore getting the best results for them and their surgeons. The patients become really familiar with the technology. They find it easier to use the more they use it. And then pre-operatively, if they use it then post-operatively, they are able to pick it up straight away and get on with it after their operation. I think for me, there was always this fear that digital physio would take over. So often physios think of this as a threat, orthopedics think of it as a threat, and that we're exchanging the computer for physios and getting rid of jobs and not providing enough hands-on treatment. For me, Reflex has always been about empowering physios, about empowering clinicians to do a better job, to support patients more, and also to provide really accurate outcome measures and show that rehab does what it does best, improving our profession and showing the evidence base. I can see daily what my patients are doing just by a quick glance at a chart. I can speak to my patients. I'm monitoring them. For example, if they have an infection, I can act on that straight away. I can engage with them and encourage them daily rather than 2 weeks, 3 weeks apart in clinic. I have a lot fewer missed appointments because I don't need them. They don't need to be in person all the time in my clinic. So freeing up my sessions for the ones who need it, who need hands-on treatment. So I use it as an adjunct. You can use it completely remotely, but our advice would be use it as a flagging tool for those who need it, who need hands-on physio, who need face-to-face. So definitely, it's not a threat. It's not there to replace. It's there to help with the backlog of large waiting lists, help with not being able to get to clinics because of COVID, prevent people coming into hospital and getting infections and things. So there are some real benefits here, and I found in the past sort of year that we've been seeing these patients using Reflex, remote monitoring has really shown some huge benefits for these patients. Patients love it, clinicians love it. So our patients are, they, like I said, they love it. And here's some quotes. So they find it very user-friendly. Those with arthritic hands often find it easy to do. Those who are not even turned on an iPad find it very easy to use. And in my experience over the last year, the technology is getting better and better with the updates and developments that are going on, with the automated protocol that they're bringing in and working on as well. I'm really excited to see where this technology will go, and in future they're looking at providing it for lumbar spines and upper limb as well. At the moment it's just knees and hips, but progressions along that line will hopefully be for upper limb as well. And the patients love the chat feature, where they can just speak to the physio when they need to and ask quick questions like, well, when can I start driving? When can I go to the gym again? When can I play football again? These are really valuable to the simple things that are really valuable to the patient. So what impact could this have for you in Hong Kong? I had a quick look, but I don't know your main challenges, but I'm sure they are similar to ours, that during the pandemic, patients are finding it hard to get to hospital, to get appointments. I know that the population is very large in Hong Kong. I know that healthcare systems are overrun, especially because of COVID. And I think this technology would be fantastic, would provide you with an opportunity to be able to provide remote rehab, and would be able to prevent people going into hospital, would enable your consultants to see the outcome of their patients. And tele-rehab is here to stay. It's not just something for COVID, but it is here to stay. It's something that's exciting, empowers the patient, empowers the clinician. And if you have any questions, then I'd be very happy to answer those. Please have a look at our website. Please get in touch if you'd like to know more. And thank you so much for inviting us here today.
歡迎香港物流及供應鏈多元技術研發中心行政總裁黃廣揚先生，以及香港社會服務聯會業務總監陳文宜女士。以下嘅時間咧就交俾兩位啦。
好多謝思怡。唔該曬。咁咧嗱，我相信大家咧都幾想像到咧，我哋講緊嗰個遙距醫療、遙距復康、遙距訓練、遙距運動係咩嘢嚟嘅？但我估大家咧去到今天咧，未必會想像到咧嚟緊咧，我哋究竟想點樣去做？咁所以我同阿 Simon 咧就想用跟住落嚟嗰15分鐘，我哋就即本講下俾大家聽咧，喺過去呢一段時間咧，我哋探咗條路出嚟，大概係點樣樣嘅。咁而家呢條路咧，其實探索緊嘅，仲有機會咧，大家咧係要同我哋一齊去參與嘅。咁我記得咧喺十幾個月之前啦嚇，即係都講緊上年 GIES 啊。如果大家心水清嘅話咧，都有一個印象咧，我哋曾經有一個 pavilion 咧係講 Tele-practice 嘅。咁如果未去過咁唔緊要啦，即係你哋可以上網去睇得翻。但我想講咧，當時候咧，我哋係一件嘅產品咧，放咗喺我哋嘅 pavilion 嗰度咧，俾大家去睇去感受下乜嘢可以愛嚟 作為一個工具去使用。但係去到今天呢，我哋唔想再一件一件咁樣呢擺喺大家面前，咁你自己諗下點樣去用啦。調翻轉頭，如果假設我哋講緊成個將來個服務發展，究竟我哋點樣一齊行呢？喺過去呢，我哋總共 engage 咗超過1000個業界嘅同工。呢1000人呢，包括我哋一啲嘅治療師啦，包括咗我哋有一啲嘅社工嘅同事啦，甚至乎我哋一啲嘅 care worker 年青嘅朋友。咁佢哋做乜嘢呢？就係當然梗係要認識呢個叫 Tele-practice。唔認識呢，係好難行落去嘅，因為大家都唔知我哋講緊乜嘢。跟住落嚟呢，我哋呢就再呢喺當中呢，我哋有300個人呢幫我哋填咗份問卷。呢份問卷裏邊呢，俾咗我哋一個好大嘅啟示。原來呢，我哋要知道究竟我哋個業界嗰個嘅準備去到邊度。咁我哋嗰陣時候呢，就大概係咁樣問嘅，冇 PowerPoint 嘅，睇我就得㗎啦嚇。咁第一呢，我哋大概有幾層嘅 level 啦。第一個 level 呢，就係睇片嘅，因為佢哋嗰個嘅技術唔係好夠，咁嗱睇片得㗎啦。咁呢個叫 level 1。第二個呢，就係多少少啦，想有少少互動，有少少遊戲。睇片之餘呢，仲最好呢，就係有埋啲調教一啲嘅日程時間，提我點樣去做一啲嘅嘢啦嚇。呢個叫 level 2。level 3呢，就再加多少少，就係我唔介意裝下一啲 sensor 啦，有一啲嘅鏡頭啦，去感受下我即係做嗰樣嘢啱唔啱，叫 level 3。level 4呢，就係再高級少少啦，就係我要自己都要被有一個自我嗰個嘅管理嘅，我肯去做一啲嘢，同埋我肯去做功課啊、做記錄啊等等嘅情況。呢個叫 level 4。第5呢，就係真係遙距嘅一啲嘅診症啦。當時候呢，我哋睇翻嗰個記錄呢，原來呢 level 3同 level 2呢係最多人係 OK 嘅，即係話呢互動嘅，有 schedule 嘅，唔介意裝一啲 sensor 咧去感測到個成個情況嘅。咁我哋知道呢，原來呢個就係我哋業界嗰個起初啦。我哋唔會我哋好擔心如果我哋搞呢咁多嘅嘢，究竟佢哋制唔制㗎？肯唔肯㗎？咁一定肯，因為佢哋咁樣同我哋講。咁當時候呢，我哋就唔係話唔做嘢喎，放低下。跟住大家都可能都知啦，我哋有一個賽馬會 A+ 樂齡科技及教育及綜合服務啦。咁當時候呢，我哋呢就去鼓勵下究竟我哋點樣去將我哋有關嘅一啲嘅產品真係可以租上去屋企。好啦，大家要記住一樣嘢。當時候我哋嗰個結論呢，就係，既然我哋有啲機構用10億基金都可以係做到有一啲嘅訓練喺中心嗰度做，特別喺疫情期間冇得去中心嘅時候，大家都想咁，我哋可唔可以屋企度再做啲嘢？所以就當時候呢，社會福利署嘅同事同我哋呢，其實大家都好努力去諗緊去揾一啲方案。咁我諗去到今日呢，我要將個時間 pass 俾阿 Simon， 因為 Simon 呢跟住落嚟會同我哋講緊嗰樣嘢呢，就係喺嚟緊我哋有一啲時間呢，我哋都會係朝住呢一個方向，大家一齊去做嘅。Simon， 我交俾你啦。唔該
，Grace 講到我都興奮啊！因為呢，我諗頭先睇到3段呢，我好快總結一下3位喺海外嘅專家嘅經驗同我哋一樣嘅。第一呢，需要一個我哋講嘅 digital platform 數碼嘅一個平台，大家都可以參與。第二樣嘢呢，就係有咗呢個平台之後呢，你可以譬如話老人中心啊，或者一堆樂齡嘅人士呢，一齊去做一啲既定嘅一啲復健啊，或者遊戲，保持佢哋嘅健康。到最後啦，嗰位呢就直情可以呢做 Tele-rehab 啦，復健嘅方法呢，利用呢個遙距呢做呢個復健。咁當我呢初時聽到阿 Grace 講呢，不如大家合作做一個遙距服務嘅平台呢。咁我聽到呢就真係非常之興奮，因為點解呢？呢個平台呢，我覺得而家係最佳嘅時機呢，開始做入。點樣有辦法做一個好嘅平台呢？需要幾樣嘢，有好多科技，因為頭先大家都聽到啦，阿 Dr. Elwin 講科技。每一個都講科技，而我哋香港呢，呢啲科技呢係越嚟越成熟。咁一陣呢，你會睇到呢，譬如話科學園啦，都有好多科技公司呢 係專門服務老人家嘅。第二咧，人哋講嘅 bandwidth 咧，香港根本係冇問題。即係喺外國覺得咧，我唔夠 bandwidth， 放心啦，我哋香港大把 bandwidth， 咁係好適合做呢個遙距嘅服務。咁第三樣嘢當然啦，就係 pandemic。今次嘅 COVID-19 咧，使到我哋人與人之間嘅距離咧都有個口罩。咁啊，老人家更加唔出得去。咁我哋而家咧就因為阿 Grace 同埋社聯呢個諗法咧，我哋覺得可以用科技咧幫忙建構一個平台，尤其是可以幫到咧中小型嘅 NGO 嚟更好咁樣服務咧我哋嘅老友記。咁呢個平台咧有幾個層次嘅，就好似頭先阿 Grace 講嘅，最上面嘅層次咧就係接觸點闊啲嘅，譬如俾老人中心啊、社區啊，我哋有啲基本嘅保健遊戲啊，使到你頭腦靈活嘅打麻雀啊等等。我哋打麻雀叻過人哋外國人10倍啦嚇，唔好講100倍啦。咁第二個 layer 咧，就係利用遙距嘅方法咧，做一啲比較再貼身啲嘅服務。咁譬如我哋可以開始試行有啲針對性嘅復健。咁佢個老人家或者個 recipient 唔係好方便成日去醫院，唔係好方便成日出門嘅。咁如果我哋能夠做到呢樣嘢咧，就非常之理想。但係第三樣嘢咧，點解我哋覺得時機真係成熟咧？就有好多科技公司咧，可以將佢嶄新嘅呢啲科技係服務復健啦、老人嘅，都可以利用呢一個平台咧，提供俾佢嚟做服務。咁呢個平台咧，可以俾接受服務嘅朋友啦，俾 NGO 啦，俾科技公司啦，全部大家合埋一齊，咁呢就有一個力量啦。Economy of scale， 我哋就有一個規模嘅力量。咁再加上呢，如果咁樣做法呢，我哋嘅經驗話俾我哋聽呢，因為我哋其實喺樂齡科我哋做咗10年以上，而家呢大部分嘅科技呢都成熟。我夠膽講呢，頭先睇到嘅任何一個例子呢，香港都做得到。可能仲會做得更好添啊！咁所以咧，呢個咧英文叫做 tipping point 啊。呢個咧就可能呢個臨界嘅時刻咧已經到咗。咁適時咧做呢個平台咧，我哋覺得非常之興奮。咁當然啦，仲有阿 Grace 講到我即係個頭腦咧都興奮晒，好似咧有一個好好嘅方法咧嚟服務人群。咁我哋非常之樂意參與。
其實咧呢個概念咧一啲都唔係話真係好複雜嘅事，但係咧我哋相信咧就係如果假使我哋自己去做而冇科技界嗰邊去幫手嘅話咧，呢件事會行遠好多同埋行耐好多。咁我哋咧都有啲嘢咧，我哋要有一個秩序。個秩序係點樣樣咧？就係如果假使係去建構呢個平台嘅話咧，咁我哋就交俾 LSCM 嗰邊去幫手去做。咁 LSCM 我哋可以講下少少背景，因為可能咧在座有啲嘅機構咧，唔係好認識 LSCM 嘅喎。
我哋係創新科技處下低嘅一個研發中心嚟嘅。咁啊名咧好長噶啦，基本上我哋由物流供應鏈咧業界嗰度開始服務，但係用咗好多呢啲科技過去10年咧，都攞嚟做喺社區服務同埋老人服務嘅，包括咧防遊走啦。頭先驚啊，譬如話有啲腦退化嘅老人家走失咗啦，我哋喺同在座有好多同工咧，譬如老人家出去玩咧，我哋俾佢 GPS 定位啦，等等嘅。咁啊，服務老人嘅科技咧，我哋係絕對咧喺香港都應該係唔敢話數一數二咧，都係頭5名噶啦。咁所以依方面嘅喺科技上邊嘅我哋嘅認知咧係非常之深嘅。咁我哋希望咧透過呢個平台，能夠結合晒所有我哋有興趣嘅同工咧，一齊嚟更好服務俾我哋嘅樂齡人士。因為點解咧？最近都聽到啦，我頭先啱啱聽嘅阿陳生都講啦， 就係咧慢慢咧就要醫社合作啦。點解要醫社合作啊？就係咧老人家需要嘅服務咧，既係社會服務好多嘅，亦都係醫療保健服務。咁如果我哋能夠做好咧，團結力量咁大咧，咁慢慢真係可以朝醫社合作呢個方向咧邁步前行。
咁咧喺呢段時間咧，個平台未出世之前咧，我哋社福界要幫手做一件事。呢件事咧就係我哋先至係用家嘛，我哋個 user 嘅 experience 咧一定要講到俾 LSCM 嗰邊嘅同事知道，讓佢哋咧喺佢哋去設計去建構呢個平台嘅時候咧，佢有我哋嗰個嘅需要嗰個立足點、經驗，我哋嘅困難，我哋邊一啲咧原來我哋咁樣做法咧係會最理想。當然呢一個部分我哋社聯嗰邊咧亦都會同機構嗰邊去聯繫啦。包括咗我哋用家唔單止淨係我哋嘅服務對象老人家，我哋嘅 rehab 嘅單位或者我哋嘅照顧者都係我哋其中喺呢方面嗰個工作嘅持份嘅一部分。再者咧，頭先我講緊原來咧我哋成個平台咧，你想像到咧都幾放得多一啲唔同嘅 IoT 嘅一啲嘅 device 喺嗰度。究竟我哋社福界咧，人哋講 IoT 就即係好似哇一個好緊要嘅一個世界。究竟我哋社福界喺社會服務裏邊，喺 rehab 喺 elderly 喺唔同嗰個嘅照顧程度，或者可能我哋嘅服務對象，究竟佢需要一啲乜嘢嘅 IoT， 需要一啲乜嘢嘅 tele 嘅 service 或者係一啲嘅 practice 上高，我哋要有一啲嘅 guideline， 有啲規矩，有啲秩序咧。咁呢一個部分咧，應該係會同 LSM 嗰邊嘅同事咧一齊相輔相成咁樣去行出嚟啦呢條路。咁最後Simon 你可以用最後嗰分零鐘啦，就俾你做一個少少嘅總結啦，好唔好？
非常之多謝啦！我哋係非常之感恩咧有呢個機會，呢個咧係將科技同埋服務社群咧融合得非常好嘅一個機會。咁我哋咧呢一個 platform 最重要嘅咧，就係能夠兼容不同嘅界別、不同嘅團體、不同嘅科技，甚至咧希望日後咧係不同嘅服務。咁希望在座各位，尤其是線上各位聽到嘅，都能夠咧俾我哋支持。咁我哋亦都咧，其實我哋兩個傾完咧，就開俾一陣間嗰個 panel 咧，幾位專家咧就更加可以精闢咧，就俾我哋更好嘅意見。咁我哋一定咧會全力以赴。咁背後咧，我哋亦都得到咧創新科技處、創新科技基金嘅呢個協助。咁我亦都相信咧，一陣阿哥頓又喺度，我哋處長亦都喺度，咁就好多不同界別嘅人可以一齊嚟合作。希望終有一日咧，我哋能夠做到咧，就係睇遠啲啦。Tele-practice 遙距服務，再加醫社合作。係，我就講咁多先。
好，咁我哋工作其實首要嘅，我哋一定有個人喺度。咁其實咧喺成個過程裏邊咧，最終歸嘅總結咧就係我哋其實已經有大概超過38個嘅機構咧，其實佢哋願意咧係去揾一啲治療師嘅同事出嚟咧，係成為一個我哋一個叫做專家團隊啦。大家就住呢個 Tele-practice 咧，係大家一齊去合作嘅。咁呢個嘅部分工作咧，嚟緊會好快脆咧，咁我哋就會開始㗎啦。咁喺呢度咧都多謝大家嘅時間啦。咁我哋今日嘅分享就去到呢度啦。
多謝。